Okay, if everybody can take their seats, then we're going to get started. Thank you all for coming. My name is Schnurer. I'm the founder of the Greater Good Gathering. I'd like to say a few quick words about where this event came from, what's happening over the next 24 hours or so, and where we're headed after that. The roots of this event lay in a variety of discussions concerning the future of government in an age of rapidly advancing technology. It's my belief that digital and social technologies will disrupt and reconfigure the government business just as much as any other industry in the decades ahead. That means we need to rethink what it means to advance the greater good, because it won't be something we do collectively through or just through public institutions, and public policy needs to be rethought as something that isn't just done by the public sector. That was the basis for the launch of this annual conference. As you'll hear more about tomorrow, most of the students here at SEPA are already thinking in those terms about their careers already. But this requires some shared conception of the greater good, hence the name of the conference. To me, this has nothing to do with partisan politics. In fact, somewhere out in the lobby, I think we actually have a Republican. I don't quite see him in the room, but you'll be hearing from him shortly. I'm just going to repeat here something I said at last year's inaugural conference about what we mean by the greater good here. The question is whether you care about and apply your talents and education toward advancing the good of others than just yourself. Whether in a single specific ethical decision involving just one other person's welfare or a lifelong pattern as a way of being, that is a simple definition of greater good that interests me. At the first Greater Good Gathering, a year ago, we talked about that in the context of governments and governance. This year, we're framing the discussion in terms of community. What today's technologies are doing to tear apart our sense of community, from the most personal of interactions on up to global relations, as well as the potential these same technologies promised and still hold to bring us together. We'll start today by encapsulating these issues in examples everyone knows about because they're now daily headlines. We'll end the day with a more hopeful vision of how the same technologies are being used to fight oppression and create communal interactions around the world. Tomorrow, we'll spend a full day exploring these themes from the ground up, so to speak, starting with how these phenomena shape human cognition, then how that affects our relationships with others, to what that portends for the nature of trust and the pursuit of truth, for democracy, and for global issues of confrontation and cooperation. We'll again conclude on a more hopeful note with students who are using technology to stretch the boundaries of public policy and advance the greater good in all sorts of creative ways. Let me conclude with what we'll do after that. I actually didn't set out to start a conference, and it's clear to me that we can't just end with a conference. In part, I hope this is merely one step in a conversation that continues amongst all of us for weeks and months to come. In part, I hope our friends here from the media help amplify what's discussed here to bring others into the conversation. But beyond that, this Greater Good initiative will involve a series of continuing activities nationwide in scope to bring Americans across the country into conversations like this about how we can collectively make the world and our small places in it better. I'm working with some people at the Rand Institute and other higher ed institutions, and with a cross-section of political professionals and opinion experts on a new initiative coming out of this to replicate this kind of discussion on a smaller scale, but in communities across the country, and then blend these voices together technologically into an ongoing interactive nationwide conversation. The conversation will culminate in Greater Good Gathering 3.0, where we'll be talking about the implications of these technologies for the economy and the resulting political upheavals felt throughout the world today. We'll be announcing details of this in the spring. In the meantime, let's get this conversation started, and for that purpose, it's my pleasure to introduce Merritt Janow, Dean of Columbia School of International and Public Affairs, our host for this event, and apparently a colleague of mine at Columbia Law School, which I didn't know. Anyway, Merritt, thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much, Eric, for bringing this really interesting initiative to SEPA and to Columbia, where I feel it really belongs here very naturally. SEPA, as you know, is the interdisciplinary hub of policy research and engagement at Columbia. And a lot of our students, are thinking about the intersection of technology and public policy, which is cutting across our core fields here. I want to particularly thank our partners across the university. I'm really pleased when SEPA can work with other parts of the university and departments. And we have a number who have joined in this effort. And I also want to acknowledge our own faculty members, Esther Fuchs and Robert Shapiro, both of whom have played a lead role in bringing this together at SEPA. So, I think, when we first kind of came to realize the potential of the internet and interconnection and the power of globalization, we thought these trends were going to bring the world together, And I think what we found is that there have been tremendous opportunities unleashed, opportunities for creativity and entrepreneurship, but also new drivers of polarization and divisiveness that have also profoundly revealed themselves in the United States and across the world. And I've come to think of the power of social media and data is really an amplifier, of our own tendencies within societies in ways we really profoundly need to think about. We started at SEPA a couple years ago something I've called the Technology and Policy, the Tech and Policy Initiative, which was really aimed at introducing more of a curriculum around the way technology and data were changing our core fields, because our students are trying to change the world, trying to contribute to public policy by going into government, non-profit organizations, and business. And technology and data are part of the skill set that they must have to be effective in these different settings, as well as through entrepreneurship. But these are also areas that require new research, and strangely under-researched, I think, still. And the channels that I think we've deepened in recent time has been around cybersecurity, internet governance, and the digital economy. But there are so many new dimensions in each of those very big categories that I think warrant deep scholarship and engagement in the world around data governance and privacy, new regulatory frameworks, opportunities for civic tech, and all of these subjects and more are really very natural places for SEPA, working in collaboration with other parts of the university. So I think what you've brought together is quite a sprawling agenda, but with a clear logic to it, and I welcome that, and I applaud you for doing that. And I hope that it also contributes to our own student engagement, as well as future faculty research and training. So thank you very much for bringing this to SEPA and Columbia. And I look forward to a very exciting day. You have remarkable speakers. I thank all of you for coming here today, and hope we will come from this motivated to do more. Thank you.